What's going on, family? This your boy LJ Brown, and I'm back, y'all, with the All BS podcast. Listen, we rounding out the season, and so I hope that you guys thoroughly, truly enjoyed season 1 of All BS podcast. Y'all know by now, BS stands for Bible study. Everything we do, everything we talk about and discuss is biblically based. And so I hope that you all enjoyed the first season. I know I did. We had an amazing season. We had an amazing group of guests who came through. So I want to take this time as well to just thank each and every one of our guests that we had that came through. And so I hope that you all enjoyed them as much as I enjoyed having the conversations. Y'all know we had some amazing conversations. We talked all things church, all things Bible, how people felt about church, how people felt about religion, why people came and don't come to church, and all sorts of things. We talked about our relationship with God, how our relationship with God should be, can we have a relationship with God. Talked about just being our authentic self in our relationships with God. And so we just had tremendous conversation on the All BS podcast. And listen, I'm excited. I want y'all to stay tuned, stay locked in, stay tapped in, because season 2 is coming at you guys sooner than you could think. So please stay locked in. And while we're here, what I want you to do is, if you haven't already, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Y'all go ahead and subscribe right now. Tell somebody about it. Text somebody right now. Pull your phone out. Text your cousin, your brother, and everybody, and tell them, man, if you ain't checked out the All BS podcast, tell them to go and check them out right now. All the episodes you already know are online on YouTube, so you can go back. Some of them you may have missed. You might not have caught all the episodes, so you may want to go back and catch whichever episode you weren't able to catch. But tell everybody about the All BS podcast. Tell them how good it was, how lit it was, how dope it was, and just how transparent and authentic it was. But we excited for season 2. I got a great group of guests that's coming. I almost want to tell y'all some people that we're gonna have on, but I can't give it all out at one time. But make sure you stay locked in, make sure you stay tapped in to all things, so that you will know when season 2 is coming. And so I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited to see what season 2 gonna bring. I'm excited to see the conversations that we're gonna have, and I'm excited to see ultimately what God is gonna continue to do through our conversations and through our guests. So y'all stay tuned, stay locked in, stay tapped in for season 2. I'll see y'all soon. You know what? I just thought about it. We can't end it like that. Here's what we're gonna do. I got a special surprise for y'all. We're gonna recap season 1. What's going on, family? This your boy LJ Brown, and I'm here with some special guests. My boy Patrick here, my girl Nikki in here, and we back, y'all, with the season 1 recap episode. Season 1 recap. Y'all know season 1 we had, just some amazing guests, some amazing conversations, and we figured, why not throw it back? Recap, look at some clips and things, and kind of discuss a little bit about some of the conversations that we had. And so we had so many, we can't go through them all, but we got a few that we're going to show y'all today. So without further ado, let's look at our first clip.
Because can you imagine being the one and God just saying, hey, go get the donkey. And you like, God, but do you trust me? Go get the donkey. And you're like, oh, you got to get up. You got to psych yourself. That's self-motivation. You got to get up like, okay, God. All right, Nikki, God said, go get the donkey. We don't know, but
it's faith. Listen,
I go get the donkey.
We say a lot in church.
Mm-hmm.
We say a lot. We shout it. We chant it. We repeat it. We pull it down.
we call it out.
But unless you believe it.
Yes.
I don't care how many times you turn around in a circle. I don't care how many times. Unless you believe it, you can't even, not only will you not receive anything, like you can't even put anything into application. Because again, you won't even go if you don't have the faith enough to believe
Absolutely.
that the donkey gonna be there like he said.
But before faith, you got to get in a relationship with God so that you can hear his voice, so that you know how to trust him. Because you can have all
gotta
the faith
believe
in
it.
the world, but if you ain't spending time with God, if you ain't talking to God, and you don't know his voice, you don't know who telling you to go get the donkey.
You gotta believe it. What y'all think
Man,
about
that's one
that?
of my favorite clips, man.
Come on, because you was in it.
Don't listen.
Cause
Don't
you
do
was
it
in
like
favorite
that.
clip. So let's hear from you first, since you were obviously there for that one. What you pull back when you look at that?
Because you gotta believe. Like, I don't care how much you say it, how much somebody tells you, how much you read it. If you don't believe in what God says and what the word of God says, it's null and void.
Right.
People can tell you every day how they live, what they doing. They like, oh, here's how I got through it. This is what I did. But if you don't believe it's going to work, and you don't have that relationship with God, like, it just doesn't work. Faith without work is dead, but faith without belief is nothing.
Yeah. Right.
Just like sitting in the chair. How you know that you're going to sit in the chair? Because you know that chair. You trust that chair. You know, you believe that chair going to hold your weight.
Yeah.
So when it's that belief, and the only way you believe God is like a relationship with anybody else. When you first meet somebody, or you're trying to get into a relationship with God, you have to trust them in order to believe them.
Yeah.
So I just feel like belief is just, you got to believe. And the best part about God's word is that people in the Bible have said, God, help me with my unbelief. So even if you have trouble believing, you can say, God, help me believe.
Yeah.
Now be careful what you pray for.
Yeah.
Because he's going to put you in situations to make you believe.
And the crazy thing is, with that, even with that same scripture, he said, I do believe, but also help me with my unbelief. So it's like he kind of like back and forth with it. Like, I believe, but help me, you know what I mean? Help me get all the way there for real.
Yeah. And God is such a great God that he knows that you shaky with
Right,
that.
right.
So that's why he put it in the Bible. Like, hey, there's people that say I believe, but still help me when I'm shaky.
Yeah. Yeah. What you got, Pete?
Well, the part for me is, I remember when my faith was shaky.
Okay.
You know, I'm listening to y'all talk about the donkey, right? Going to y'all to get the donkey. I'm like, how am I going to somebody's yard?
Right.
That ain't my yard.
Right.
I don't know them
Right.
people. You know what I'm saying? So you
Right.
do have to trust and you have to believe. But one of the things that helped me as far as my belief was the simple fact that God ain't never let me down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God ain't never let me down. If I can call back every account where we had, you know, I was in some trouble, anything I ever did, and he was there for me.
Every time.
So I got to trust somebody like that. You know what I mean? And that really helped me with my faith piece. Because I remember, you know, they say faith without works is dead.
Right.
Okay, what does that mean? I had to work. I was working. I was doing everything that I thought I needed to do to get to where I needed to get to. But I was missing that faith piece because I wasn't trusting him. I had to turn it all over to him and be like, okay, God, you got it. It's on you at this point.
That's
that
good.
part.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And so for me, y'all know, like I said in the thing, you know, I like to make stuff real practical, right?
Yeah.
So like I was saying in the clip, it's, you know, we get in church, boy, they get to preaching to you.
Yes, sir.
They get to turn around 3 times.
Slap your neighbor.
Naming and claiming, pull it down.
Yes, sir.
And nothing against all that, right? That's, you know, we all didn't. I know I didn't been in there. I done turned around plenty of times too, right? Named it and claimed it, pulled it down, had me reaching. I done did it all, right? So
Reach.
right.
Reach.
But the thing is, it's back to, this is what we saying when we said faith without works is dead, right? You can have the faith and be in there and pulling it down all you want. But do you believe it's really going, you know, it ain't, you know, that turnaround 3 times and all, it ain't really something that you just doing. You know, and I think sometimes even when the preacher is saying that to us, we just in there turning around, not really putting into perspective. It's like, no, I'm going to believe, like, once I turn around these 3 times.
Yeah, it's really going down.
Yeah, no, God really getting ready to do something for
Yeah.
me. It ain't just in there because just have us something to do while we in there, you know, praising God. No. When he telling you name it and claim it, no, really believe that when you name this thing that you looking for God to do, believe that he really getting ready to do it. Don't just be in there quoting it. And then when you get out there, you just kind of like, all right, well, you know, no. Believe what you pulling down. Believe what you really turning around for. Like, it's I read some, man, I'm gonna forget who said it. It was on internet somewhere, right? And it said, you choose your beliefs, but your beliefs affect your choices.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So you choose what you believe, but then your beliefs affect your choices. So it's like, do you really believe whatever that thing is that God told you to do, whatever it is that you pulling down, whatever it is that you naming and claiming, do you really believe? That's, to me, I mean, It's what our whole Christian
walk is.
Yes,
it's the whole thing.
It's belief.
Yeah, it is. It's
Think about what you gotta believe from the start. You gotta believe. Number one, you gotta believe that Jesus died for your sins.
That part.
Yeah.
You got to believe
And not
that
only
God
that
is
he
God.
died, but then he got up
Yep. On the third day.
with all the power.
Right.
So just the basis of our faith is
Out the
on
gate.
you
It's
gotta
belief.
believe, and you gotta believe something that you ain't never even seen happen.
That part. And you got to believe the Bible because this stuff was written
Thousands of years
and
ago.
thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
So you have to believe that what they wrote in the Bible is real.
Yeah.
You have to, because if you don't, then then what are you doing?
Right.
Man, believe.
Yeah,
I don't know
believe.
about y'all. I believe it though.
I
Yeah.
believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I believe
and it's it is crazy. It
Why
is
it's so crazy?
because this is like, okay, side part. I'm gonna be transparent. Like I was going through like a little mental battle. Like when you really out here and you really trying to do the work of God and you really trying to listen to God and you really trying to be in his presence, you have to learn to put in more of God than you put in of the world.
That's
or you'll
a
get
fact.
your brain will get discombobulated and you don't know who talking or what's happening. And I was just going through my brain. I'm like, God, like this can't be my life. I called my mom. She was like, you gotta use God's word back to him. But you got to believe it works. So you got to go back into his word and says, no, God, it says that you're going to take care of me because you take care of the birds in the sky.
right.
It says by your stripes I'm healed. It says this. But if you don't believe it, you can't give him his word
Can't
back.
receive it.
And so for me, I had to really be like, yeah, I believe this. Like reading, I'm like, yeah, definitely, God, yes.
Right.
And it changed my whole perspective on now how I digest the Bible, how I eat it. Because now I want to read more. So it's not just one scripture for me. Let me read the content. Let me go back and read who wrote it and why they wrote it and what context in it. So now you want to eat more of it. Now you like, God, this really, really works.
Nikki down in the footnotes.
Listen, I am. And you know what I just found out? The TMP, the Passions Bible, if you go back to the beginning of like the chapter, it'll give you like a summary. Who wrote it, when they wrote it, what they was doing, how they was doing. I said, God, this always been here. He was like, yes.
Yeah. You gotta get the right thing.
Yes,
You gotta get the right Bible.
like, you have
but
to
that's
get-
key though. That's why people out. You gotta make sure like get the right Bible for you. It's all different types of
Yes.
Bibles out
All
there,
different
and
types.
she right. They'll break down the summary. They'll tell you who did what, when they did it, why they did it. They'll give you a little lesson at the end of the chapter.
That part.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Get your right Bible, folks.
So, yeah.
Get your right Bible. We got another clip.
I'm gonna read some of the comments,
Okay.
just so you can hear what the people are saying. I got this one pulled up because I thought it was pretty funny. This was the first episode, so somebody said, "Thank you for clearing up the BS acronym with the hearts and a weak
Bible study,
emoji."
folks.
It's all Bible
Yeah,
study.
yeah,
You said,
yeah.
get your mind out of the gutter. It's all Bible study.
All right, the next one is from, actually, I'm a name drop, Jackie Grice.
Okay.
No.
Shout out.
Yep, Jackie Grice. Obedience, so good the way y'all broke that down.
That's good.
Yep, somebody, who is this, Deborah Whipple? Whipple, yeah. Pastor LJ, I love that. Stumbled onto your podcast.
Wow.
So we probably don't even, this person's probably not even a partner.
Wow.
They just
Wow.
stumbled
Shout
onto
out,
it. That's
shout
good.
out. Tell
And then we
somebody
got
about it.
we got a lot of great comments. Shout out LeVar Freeman. I know he's commenting on all the
Okay.
things. So shout out
out
LeVar
to
if he's
LeVar.
watching this. But yeah, you ready to pull up the next clip?
Yeah, let's go to the next clip. How was the journey in finding God for yourself, like finding your own relationship with God when you say you went on your own walk? How was that? What did it consist of, and like how was that?
So I stopped going to the church that my family grew up in because it was catered more to older people. And I just couldn't, I mean, growing up in the church, you could hear the message. I learned to receive the message and not judge the person.
Right.
But I wanted to be in a place where I was completely comfortable, where I didn't have to worry about that.
I like that.
So I stopped going to the church that I grew up in, which all my family was like, why would you do that? I'm like, they're not speaking to me, they're speaking to y'all.
Okay.
And I started going to different churches, trying to see what I liked and what I didn't like. And I ended up at the Mount Peninsula, actually.
Okay.
I started there.
Shout out Pastor Alvin.
Yes, I started there because I heard such good things about the Mount.
Right.
From very different areas. Well, let me go see about it.
Okay.
So I'm like, at first, because I live in Hampton.
Okay.
I ain't want to make this drive up here. I ain't going to lie to you. I wanted to come to Mount Chesapeake, but that drive every Sunday, I'm like, I don't know if I could do that.
Right.
So they got a Peninsula location. I'm like, okay, let me go see. It was really dope. I enjoyed it. Then COVID hit.
Right. Okay. I don't know about y'all. The point that I like out of that clip was, you know, obviously the question was, how did you come about in your own journey? She said that, you know, she started her own walk with God, right? And she had transitioned from her churches. So for me, I know that transitioning for churches, especially for young people, transitioning churches from your home church or your family's church or the church that your mom and daddy go to or something, you know, it's hard. It ain't really an easy thing to do. And so I love the fact, though, that her answer was, they not speaking to me, they speaking to y'all. And so I love the fact that she was able to realize that, you know what, and that she said nothing was wrong with, you know, what they were doing or talking about, but she just realized that I'm not being fed right here the way I need to be fed. And she was willing to make that move because she felt like she could be fed, you know, I don't want to say better or, you know, differently or the way she needed to be fed somewhere else. And she took that leap of faith and found a church that would feed her. So I you know, for her to say that, you know, they not talking to me, they talking to y'all. I you know, to me that's take a lot of heart to do that. Take a lot of courage to do that. And transitioning and leaving a church home. What y'all?
You know what's wild? That was shout out to Kayla. I had to go follow her. She was spitting on that podcast when I first, because I hadn't heard of her.
She really was,
and she was dropping jewels, and she was all what they say in church. She was all in my Kool-Aid, because that was my journey, man. I never forget. I grew up in church all my life, and I was playing drums in church. I love drums. So it was really, really difficult for me because I'm going to a church that I may not be able to play at. Right. But I knew that my time was up there. And I never forget, I was 18 years old and I was going to, I visited my uncle's church. And I went over there. I was like, man, it is nice over there. Like I understood everything that was going on. And my home church, best preacher ever. I love him to pieces. Shout out to Pastor Carter. He gave me my foundation, man. You know what I mean? Just a great man. And I always salute him and give him his flowers. Definitely. But I like you say, it just wasn't speaking to me at the time. My whole family went there. It was a family-oriented church. But for me, it was just like, I need, in order for me to stay connected, I'm gonna have to branch out. Because look, what's going on? I'm feeling like I'm slipping a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little bit in the world. I'm not. I'm out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the world, not really work. And I used to love going to church. But I'm like, look, now my mom and them made us go to church every Sunday religiously. But I was like, look, I don't have to go to this Sunday. I gotta go. Whereas it used to be all the time. Didn't mind. But so I say, in order for me to stay connected, I gotta find something that speaks to me. So when I was able to find that, just like she said, and I didn't hear it that way because I was young. But I'll never forget. My dad was like, well, when you go to him, you gonna go in there and talk to him. I was like, nah, you just tell him I need to go. He said, no. So I had to go through the process the right way and write the letter and sit down with the pastor, tell him why, which was the most uncomfortable thing to do. At 18 years old, I'm like, but to tell this man,
what you wear when you
doing it for
what
me
you wear when you in there?
I put on a 3-piece suit. I put on a suit with the tie and everything. I say, look, man, I'm going in here right like an interview. I guess it's my exit interview. But I went in there, man, and we just had a conversation. And one thing that I could say about him, he received it. He understood what I was saying. He knew we didn't have anything for that young adult crowd.
That's good.
That transition age, as I like to call it. So it was pretty cool. So again, shout out to Pastor Carter, man.
Definitely.
But the way she put it, I was like, oh, so that's what it was I was going through. Because I needed something that spoke to me.
She put words to it.
Yeah, she put words to it.
And see, for me, it was completely different. I didn't grow up in church. So y'all talk about these new Bible studies and going back to church. We didn't. I remember going to like Bible study as like a very, very young child, a kid. But like from most of my like teenage years, I didn't go to church. I stumbled in the mount. I lost a bet, and then my bet that I had to come to church the following Sunday.
That's how. So you got introduced to church through a bet.
Through a bet. Me and my homegirl, she was working at the Ford plant, and the people was telling her about the mount, and so she came and she visited Chesapeake, and she came back and she told me we were best friends. I was like, girl, I don't do church, and I definitely don't do no big churches. I was like, I ain't giving this pastor all my money, and I was not interested. I believed in God, but I was very much in the world. And we went out drinking, and she was like, we had a bet for something, and she was like, if you lose this bet, you got to go to church tomorrow. I was like, all right.
Wow. Did she come with you?
Yes.
Okay.
And when I tell you, I was blown away.
Wow.
That first Sunday, I was like, church is this is church.
Right.
I was blown away. And for the most part, what made me come here, I was like, if this is what church is, I got to come back and see if it's still the same the next Sunday.
Wow.
And she was my best friend. And I remember one Sunday I drove to her house. I was like, come on to go to church. She was like, I'm not going. And I was like, I don't want to go by myself. And I had to make a choice that Sunday, like,
Right.
are you going to go to church or you going to not go to church? And I made a choice to start coming here by myself, and I've been coming here ever since.
Wow.
And so when people ask me to go to other churches, I'd be like, this ain't it. This ain't the Mount. This ain't it.
Wow.
And that's why I love the Mount so much, because it pulled me in. Somebody who was so much, in the world. I was in there. And I remember even coming to Sundays, like, I wore this outfit to the club. Like, let me
Right.
put a sweater on and trying to fit in.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I didn't have to try to change who I was. I could really just come to be who I was.
That's good.
And just a warm embrace of just the Mount itself, like, I was just blown away, and I still very much am.
That's good.
And even because I've been here for 12 years, and I call the Mount my home. Every now and
12
like,
years. She a veteran now.
yeah, I feel like I am. That's a long time for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, even now, like, when I go visit other churches, it's like eating from the same plate, but somebody fixed you a different plate. So if we had a buffet and somebody fixed you a different plate, that's how I feel. And that's what I tell people about the Mount. I'll be like, it's like Baskin Robbins. It's the same food, but it's different flavors. So it's just whatever flavor you want that Sunday. So now when I feel like I need a little something different, I just like, I'll go visit another thing. I go to 8 o'clock at Chesapeake. I go to 11 o'clock at TNP, and I kind of get my different
Church hopping.
sauces. Yeah.
Say, oh, you're a church hopper.
It's in the same
I'm
house.
just messing with you.
You know what I'm saying?
You know I had to get you.
Yeah, but and so I love that about the Mount, because when I'm able to tell people about it, I'm like, and I ain't even grow up in church. So when people talk about all of that, like,
You don't know nothing
I
about
don't
it.
know nothing about it, baby.
Wow.
Nothing.
So
That's
I want to
good.
speak a little bit more to, because she mentioned it too. She said, she liked the fact that she didn't feel like she had to put this on or put that on. People weren't looking at her crazy or judging her or whatever. So speak to that, especially from not growing up in church and coming in. You said you came in with your club clothes on sometimes. So like,
did.
how I mean, obviously that it made you feel comfortable that you didn't have to you felt comfortable enough to come in. I got my club clothes on, whatever. I came in. Like, how did that help you to say, you know what, like, this all right? Like, what was that feeling for you?
Honest answer?
Yeah.
Because I saw you here.
Okay.
And I saw Cord Jubilee here.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? And I had seen y'all outside.
Right.
And I was like, people like me in here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Truth be told, I see people at the club. I was like, I just saw them.
Right. Don't call their name, though. You can call my name. Don't call their name.
But for the most part, it's
She gonna be like, yeah, I saw so and
yeah,
so.
because I would have been like, I remember you last night. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's because, and I felt like Bishop looked like T.I.
Uh-huh.
And so
A lot of
I
people
was,
say that.
Yeah.
People say that. I don't
Yeah, a lot of
see
people
that.
say
Man,
that.
when I first came here, Bishop looked like T.I. And so I just felt like I felt saw people there who looked like me. I didn't feel, and I've always been like the different one.
Right.
And I didn't feel different coming in here.
Wow.
That's good.
And I really honestly believe that God was tugging on my heart, and when I came in, he was like, this is what you need.
Yeah. I like that you said that, though, because people used to always ask me, too, like, man, why you, even before all the pastor stuff and all that, man, why you, wear suits and all that and yada. And I used to tell them, it was a little bit of intentionality behind it, because I feel like, when people would come to church, if you need to see people with suits on, it's plenty of those type of people in here.
That's true.
Everybody in here
That's
got
true.
a suit on. So I'm glad that you said that, because it confirmed to me that it did kind of help. It's like when somebody come in here that's not into that, like, who is that person that they see that they can relate to and say, oh, you know what? I can wear my jeans in here
That's good.
and still be all right. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for
See,
that. And
that was
Nikki,
the-
me and Nikki, we've been outside a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
And see, I was the opposite. I was a role player. I'm putting the suits on. I'm Steve Harvey every
Every
Sunday.
Sunday.
you played the role. You
I
played
played the
drums,
role.
sweating.
I played the role. So
Wiley.
for me, when I came over to the Mount, I was like, oh, this is different. I never forget my grandma say, don't get over
switch
there.
roles, nigga. Then switch roles.
Look. I said, man, look, I ain't got to wake up and put on a suit every Sunday.
What your grandma say?
She said, don't get over there and lose yourself now. Remember, put your clothes on now. She's just going to tell you like it is. But we like clothes.
Yeah.
You know, we like our clothes. And I love a suit.
Right. Cause you still throw one on.
Yeah, I put one on there now and then. I love a suit. But to me, I was like, okay, so I don't have to do it all the time. It was tradition. Yeah. It was every Sunday was Sunday clothes. Yeah,
definitely.
You know what I mean? So
definitely.
And I like it when I first got here and I was trying to find myself in my newfound identity and my new Christian walk. It was nice to be able to go through a transformation inside the building. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So I went from like wearing church clothes to like, all right, let me try some dresses. Oh, I could wear some pants. So I was able to go through each transition to find out how I'm comfortable at church.
That's good.
See, I like that.
That's good. And being comfortable doing it.
To be able to do it.
And I didn't feel like people was like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I would see people, I'm like, oh, that's cute. I got that dress. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So like I was able to kind of go through all the stages of right inside
that's
here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So what can we do as a church? And I'm not trying to turn it into the interviewer, but what can we do as a church as a whole to make people feel more comfortable when it comes to that?
I think we're doing that.
Yeah, representation.
Because here's what I tell people all the time. Even when people come and tell me like about you, like a lot of my clients, kids love you.
Yeah, definitely.
They really come and they be like, you know, I be like, yeah. Just to be able to see y'all up on stage and to see how y'all dress and how y'all carry yourself and y'all the same way outside, that helps everybody else when you walk it like you talk it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's and I think that because even though y'all came from a church background and they wanted you to wear suits and you used to wear suits, the fact that y'all can switch it up and be whoever you need to be for whatever a situation calls for, it lets everybody looking outside like, hey, if I want to wear a suit, I can. But if I want to wear Jordans, I can. However I feel comfortable, however the Holy Spirit leads me to get dressed, I know I'm going to be welcome when I come in here.
That's good.
That's good.
That's good. Walk it like I talk it.
Yeah.
All right, gonna read a couple comments, and then I got a question.
Okay.
So Joyce Freeman 2462 says, "This is so good, especially for us senior saints. I love this. We should be learning from each other, no matter our age."
That's good.
Yeah.
That's dope. So I'm guessing she's like senior citizen. Yeah.
We love the older saints too.
Oh yeah, and then we have Valencia Welch.
I love Minister V.
She says church should be comfortable for everyone to come.
Yeah.
Yes, Pastor.
Absolutely.
So I think what I wanted to ask was, because I know you mentioned something about church hopping.
No.
But how do y'all feel about that though?
Yeah, he said Nikki was a church hopper.
I was serious.
But how do y'all feel about church hopping? But I know everyone was doing it in COVID, like as far as watching, but literally, how y'all feel about that? Do y'all have an issue with church hopping or not?
I personally
I'll let y'all
don't.
go first.
I personally don't feel a way.
Okay.
As long as your obligation to your home church is taken care of. Mm-hmm. So say, for instance, for me, I'm a minister at my church. Mm-hmm. If I don't have something going on at my church, then, I should be able to go somewhere else. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't think it should be, no, you can't go nowhere. And it's not like that here for me. So I feel comfortable. Like say, for instance, for Selah. We out on Selah.
I'm about to say, did not see you at another church?
Hey, worry about yourself.
Okay, I could have sworn I saw you at another church. Okay.
Got him.
Okay.
So yeah, we on Selah. I don't have any
hands
obligation
raised high too.
But then
hands outstretched.
That part. Okay. And he was like, man, y'all gotta be here with me.
Y'all crazy. Y'all ain't see that one, did you? Nah, but again, that's one of those things. We don't have church because renovations of it. We don't see Selah. So I'm able to go and visit a friend's church. Yeah. You know what I mean? And go and check them out because I wouldn't necessarily be able to do it because I got obligation here on Sunday mornings. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to tell the kids to be here if I ain't here.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, I'm a representative of what I'm speaking to the young people.
Absolutely. And to just piggyback back off that,
well, we know you church. You just said you church hop.
I mean, hey. I don't church hop. I just, we didn't say live. So I went to another
go where the Lord leads.
Yeah, I went to Mount, you know what I'm saying? So where was I was led? But church hopping, I think, and I gotta hit both sides.
Okay.
it could be good, but it could be detrimental too. If you're not grounded, if you're not grounded in the
That's correct.
foundation,
I
if
like
you
that.
don't like
Yep.
have a certain pastor or a certain church that you say, I'm connected to, this is who I eat from on a daily basis, then yes, it can get confusing because there's so much out here now.
Absolutely.
The internet, you can flick it on and everybody want to preach. Everybody
That's
got a
real.
word from God. And if you don't have a foundation, you don't have your own relationship with God and your own personal relationship, it can get confusing because not everybody is speaking the right thing.
That's good. Yeah.
So I feel like if you have a solid home and you have a solid foundation, it's okay to go visit.
Yeah.
But know where your know where your feet are planted.
That's good.
So it
That's
doesn't
good.
matter how much I go and visit other mount sites. I know that my feet, like my home church, my heart is the mount.
That's
Right.
good. That's
Right.
good.
I mean, and that's exactly where I was gonna go. I think that the bottom line is church hopping. Nothing necessarily wrong with it, but you do have to be careful where you going. I don't think you should be somewhere different every week.
Right.
You
Right.
know, I don't think you should. As Nikki already said, you should have a home church. I think you should have a home church. You should have somewhere that you say you belong here. And the bottom line is, back in the day, your mom and daddy didn't let you eat at everybody's house.
That part.
That part.
You know.
Say it again.
Okay.
So
For the people in the back.
absolutely. So it's the same thing when it comes to church hopping and being fed spiritual food. You don't want to eat everybody's food.
That part.
You don't want to eat everybody's food. You gotta be careful what you're eating. And even with that, when you church hopping, you still gotta be careful because we relegated to everybody might not be saying the good stuff, the right thing, or and the thing is they might not be saying anything wrong, but you still gotta be careful with going everywhere else because it's just like with regular food, you wanna have a steady diet.
Yeah.
Right,
Good.
you want to
Yeah.
you want to make sure that you get they might not be necessarily saying something wrong, but in this season it might not be what you need.
That part.
And the person that's supposed to be telling you what you need is the person that's assigned to you by God to be feeding you.
Yeah.
Which is why the Bible say sheep know the shepherd's voice.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, if you over there listen to somebody that's not your shepherd, he might be feeding you something that it might not necessarily be unhealthy for you, but it just ain't what you need in this
Right.
season.
Wow.
Because he not assigned to speaking to you.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily whether or not they saying something wrong.
That's good.
It's just that they not assigned to be feeding you anyway.
That part. Yeah.
So we got to be real careful with the church hopping. Not saying nothing wrong. Yes, you can visit. Yes, you
Visit.
can go.
Yeah, that's the word.
You can
Visit.
You can visit.
I visit.
And you can go here and
I ain't
there.
go hop.
Yeah,
But yeah, you gotta be.
But
You
you
gotta
say-
be. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful.
Hands raised and everything.
Yeah.
But you
Patrick,
say you
I can
wake
see,
up.
I can see Patrick
You know-
belt buckle here. It's on.
The bottom of his stomach, right?
Man, go ahead.
The bottom of his
Got that shirt off too, didn't he?
No, you said you wake up and figure out which one you want to go to. That's church hopping to me. I visited a church
I went to because
No,
we were
no.
in Sela, and I went to.
and I was released.
we were in Sela.
Next clip. Next
That
clip.
part.
Here we go. Is there a reason, number one, that people aren't running back in the church? Mainly younger non-churched,
Yeah.
right? And then what is it that we as the church can do to get them in church?
The answer is yes. I mean, a lot of times the people aren't running back to churches because of the religion aspect. There's a difference. Religion, relationship. Religion will tell you one thing. Religion will tell you to work from the outside in.
Right.
You cannot walk into my church if you look this way, you dress this
Right,
way, you
right,
have
right.
this type, you talk this way, or you living this lifestyle. Oftentimes, the hypocrites keep us out of church. Like, you telling me not to do this, but I heard from little birdie, right?
Right.
But a relationship will have me running to church because a relationship will tell me, like, let's just say I'm not married now, but when I'm married, my wife wouldn't have to tell me what not to do.
Right.
When I leave the house, I shouldn't have a big essay of don't
Right.
do this, don't do this, don't do this.
Right.
Because I love her so much, there's just certain things I won't do.
Right.
And so the reason that oftentimes my generation or just even older people, whoever just is not running the church is because they feel judged by people they want to be poured. Like they want to be poured into, but the people that are doing the pouring don't want to pour because they got this thing, they got this shield. It's like,
Right.
man, I know me personally, I have never been church hurt.
Okay.
I've always known how to readjust and realign. Like if I'm ever affected in a negative way, I readjust quick. But for some, it's like they had a bad taste in their mouth and now they don't like God no more.
Right. That's good.
That's a big one.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Man, shout out to Josh. Number one, I love Josh. He do some incredible things.
Yeah.
You know, just in his own way, he does some incredible things. So shout out to Josh. Man, how y'all feel about people? You know, I think we slowly getting back. In the church, and I think he said something major in the sense of that religion versus relationship thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think further in the clip, he kind of talked about, you know, people don't run back into church because you got the judgmental people in church telling you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. And I think he even said he said in the sense of like a marriage, like when you get married, you don't really get like a rule book that tell you when you go outside or you know when you're away from your spouse or whatever, you don't walk around with an essay or a list that just say you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's just kind of, you know, you in a relationship, so you handle yourself accordingly as being in a relationship. And so I think that we kind of have done that as a church. You know how we all grew up. When we kind of grew up, it was you can't do this, you can't do that. When you go to church, you're going to put the suit on. You're going to have your, you know, after church was over, you had to change clothes.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
You had to change clothes when church was over.
Better bet it.
You know, and so I think that to Nikki's point a little while ago, she was saying, you know, we already kind of doing some of those same things. You know, we make it a little more comfortable. You know, you can go right to somewhere else after church. You ain't got to go home, change your clothes first. And, you know, we try not to be so judgmental and that sort of thing. But how do y'all feel about people getting back in the church? And just like I said in the clip, you know, even the younger, you know, unchurched people, even the people who may not have, so you can answer this question good too, people that have not grown up in church. You know, you ain't grow up in church, but you know, how do you engage those people? So you know, and the funny thing with you is somebody bet you about going to church, but they ain't go to church.
That part.
You know,
And
so it's like,
and I don't even know what happened. Like
but
she
how
stopped
you-
from the church. We're not even friends no more.
so how do we as the church,
Put it
how
out
do
there.
we as the church like make that, how, you know what I mean? Like, how we do that? How we get on y'all? What y'all think?
It's for me like relationship. I think, and this is what I honestly believe. When we have a warped idea of what relationship means, especially for me, like my dad, my real dad, he just wasn't around. So when you talk about God in the sense of a father, you already have a warped idea in your brain of what a dad is going to be because you view your dad as heartbreak, not showing up, yada, yada, yada. So then somebody says, God is your father. And you like, in your brain, you're trying to rationalize how to believe in that's your father. And then my real mother, she wasn't around either. My aunt raised me. So then you telling me that God is my mother. She won't around and you want me to trust him. So I think when we get the idea right, that once we get our relationship right and the foundations of what a relationship is supposed to be, and we get our relationship with God, you realize it's not about religion, it's about relationship. Right. And God wants you exactly who you are because he wants a relationship with you personally, one-on-one. Right. And I think if we can, we already do that now, start to tell people more it's about relationship. I think, but once we start to capitalize and be like, it's really about relationship, because when we were younger, it was all about religion. And I think if we keep telling people like it is relationship, God loves you, don't matter how crazy you look. You said it in one of your podcasts before. You can't be perfect and come in here and be like, oh, I'm gonna get myself together, then I'm gonna go to God. He wants you as raggedy as you are right now. And once we realize that and take all the hangups that what we think a relationship is or what we believe a relationship is, and say, God, show me what a relationship is, and be in his word, then you can fully understand what it means to be in a relationship with God.
That's good. That's good. That's good. What you think, P?
So for me, we talk about, are people coming back into the building, or why are they not coming back into the building? I simply think that we did a really, really good job during COVID. Number one.
I think so too. Too good.
It's too good. You know what I mean? As far as, and on the virtual side of things.
Right.
But I also got to lean to saying every church wasn't that good. So, and they still not showing back up after COVID. So what happened? So I think that people started to develop a real relationship with God.
Okay.
Because check this out. When we were out of the building, you got to remember what we preached. You put your temple at your altar is at home. You know, you develop a relationship with God. It ain't about the building, boom, boom, boom. And I'm at home like, yeah, but I miss my building though. Golly, I miss the building. And then the longer, we ain't know it was gonna be 2 years. You got me off the building. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, you know what? Wow, I don't have to be in the building to get something from God or to hear from him or to have that strong connection with him. Now, after the pandemic, and they want you back and they're begging you to come back at that point, right? Yeah. I don't know why they at home. I mean, I'm talking about they getting on you. They yelling at you for something you created. No sense. You make it make sense. That's what But when you talk about coming back into the building, I do have a relationship with God. So after COVID happened, I got to be mature.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now it's a maturity thing. Yeah. Not only, I may not need to be there, but I want to be there. That's just like being in a relationship. I don't want somebody to want me because I need them.
Right. I want
you to want me because you just naturally decide.
You know what the Holy Spirit just dropped on me when you said, talking about COVID and how we showed them how to have a relationship. It's almost like a baby. It's like you got to get them off the bottle, and we got them off the bottle. Now we got to figure out how we gonna get them table food or how to give them hard food. Because we've been bottle feeding people. Coming to church is the only way. And now it's like, okay, you off the bottle, maturity. Right. Now I gotta get you some table food. Now I gotta get you some hard food. But I lost my train of thought, but
that's good.
So I just think we keep doing what we're doing, because they're slowly coming back.
That's good.
They are, and that's what it is. Now people want to come back because we want them to want to come in here, and you have to be mature enough to say, and I tell people, this is what I say: if you make it a point to go to work every day because you know that's your paycheck, I put God not in the same category, but just like I'm gonna go to work every day. Sunday for me is not just I'll do. No, I'm obligated because I want you to want to bless me. I want you to do these things for me because I believe that you can. I want you to. So I'm gonna show you that I'm serious about this relationship. And I'm going to show up. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to have church every day at home. You're supposed to be with God every day at home. Why not go to his house one day a week?
Yeah.
If you had a boo, if you was liking somebody, you'll go see them.
Absolutely.
So why you can't do that with God?
That's good. And it's what both of y'all saying. It's the maturity factor. And sometimes it's even in that relationship, it's things that you kind of been through too. Because I was talking to somebody the other day. Y'all know you just said earlier that we on CLA, so we've been out of the building for the entire month of August. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and just because of some of the things they've been going through, they were saying, man, like, I understand now more than ever the necessity of being in the building. So it's, and nothing is wrong with what we were talking about doing COVID, set your altar up and, how your own relationship and all that's true too. But it's also, you can't, what does it say? Don't forget to forsake the gathering of the saints. Yeah. It's something about y'all being in the place. It's something about being in the house with other saints. It's just, I like it to always say on Sunday sometimes, it's like when you be in here sometimes, man, it's like getting a warm hug from God. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can get it at home. You can. You can. But I feel like when you in the place, man, it's God's presence just fills the place. Listen, y'all, it's like watching the game at TV and going to the game in person.
That part.
Yeah.
And there's just certain things
different. You can enjoy the game. You might get riled up at your house but you don't get it like you get it at the game. It just is what it is. And so you can't forsake the coming together of the saints.
And there's just certain things that you don't get access to if you're not in the building.
Absolutely.
There's some things that God will do in the building.
Absolutely.
That's a fact.
That you
100%.
It's okay to see it at home. Yeah. But I've been at home before watching stream and I'll be like, how did I miss that?
Some things you got to be present for.
I did that one time. After that, I'm like, there's never going to be a point where I'm going to miss God moving, and I could have been in the atmosphere when you do it.
Absolutely.
Right. And look, so to put it in perspective, Wednesday night during our convocation,
that
was a moment.
Yeah.
I would have been if I would have been at home. I couldn't even explain it. I couldn't articulate what took place in the room. So that night for me,
you had to be there.
I say, I'll never
you had to be there.
Miss. You ain't gotta worry about me.
Absolutely.
Because if it move like this and you miss it,
come on here.
Because I'm telling you, you could have went into praise in your house. You could have that night.
Yeah, I'm sure you could have.
But
I'm sure you could have.
But it was not
like
what it was in
yeah,
the room.
Man.
It's
And
just
it was
wrong.
crazy because I wasn't going to come that night.
Yeah.
And I told a client of mine to come with me. And I didn't think she was going to come. And then
Yeah.
she ended up texting me like, oh, I'm on my way. I was like, all right, I guess I got to
Yeah.
get up. And I came in. I
Yeah.
was like, thank you, God.
Man.
Because it was, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I don't want to be the one to be like, dang, I missed it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So look, if you out there, you don't have to come. You can absolutely stream. You can absolutely, enjoy and engage in your relationship with God, via the stream. But listen,
That part.
listen. Look at my face. You want to be in a
Keep
room.
staring to the camera.
Yeah. You want to be in a room. You want to be in a room. Just to, once again, get that warm embrace from God and just be in the gathering with the saints, man. It's nothing like it. It's nothing like it.
I like to add to that part.
Yeah.
I feel like coming to church or, any event that you have here, it's like the highest percentage way to find like-minded individuals, like accountability partners and stuff like that. So that's why I think for me, that's why coming to church is important. Being in the building is important because I want to know who love God too. Like where my fam at? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's probably my best part, my favorite part about being
That's
here.
good.
And I'll develop a lot of relationships with people. I'm not gonna name drop, but I know they're praying for me.
Yeah.
I pray for them.
Right.
We do Bible discussion together sometimes.
That's
so,
good.
yeah, a lot of great fruit comes from being in the building.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like that. A lot of grapefruit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
Sam.
so I'm gonna read a comment, and this is, y'all know this person, Tamiko Jones,
Okay. Shout out to
TMP.
Miko.
Oh, you don't look like you.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, okay. He was like, She said, yes, Pastor LJ, not all of the unchurched are non-believers. I have been a believer for more than 3 decades. However, I just started attending church in the building approximately 2 decades ago. So 20 years ago, she started attending church, but she's been a believer for 30 years.
Got you.
So I kind of want y'all to touch on that, the difference between unchurched, non-believers, just in case people don't understand. What does that mean to you?
For me, I would say unchurched is like how Nikki said, she was unchurched. She didn't grow up in church. She didn't know nothing about church. She didn't know no church terminology. When you come to church, if you don't know anything about church, you may not know what the vestibule is. Yeah. You may not know when they say the doors of the church are open. It's like, what is you looking around, the doors still
don't know
closed.
what that means.
I
still don't know what that means.
Yeah, the doors of
What
the
does that
church are
mean?
open. It's what they would say basically when we do the invitation.
Yeah.
When I invite people to accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior. In the old school church, they say the doors of the church are now open, meaning now's your time to accept Jesus. Yeah. So point in case right there, a case in point. It's like you don't know that if you're unchurched, right? So, but I do agree. I think you can be somebody who doesn't go to church. It's just like Nikki said it. Nikki said that she didn't go to church, but she believed in God. So now you might have had some learning to do, but you at least believed in who God was. You knew that it was somebody else who was in control and things of that nature. So there are people out there who don't go to church, who may not have grown up in church, but you hear people online talk about all the time. They ain't no Christians and but they believe in God. It's like, how you say you ain't no Christian, but you believe in God, or you know how they say a higher power,
right.
And it's like, come
I had
on,
somebody
y'all.
tell me that they
So
believed in
it's
God,
something.
but didn't believe in Jesus.
Yeah.
I said, how you supposed to get to God? You got to get to God through Jesus.
Right. So what that tells me though is I do feel like you can believe in God, but the bottom line is they still they just got some learning to do.
Yeah.
Which is why you need to come to church. Mm-hmm. Cause see, you'll sit there and you got this belief, but you don't even understand. You saying you ain't no Christian, but you believe in God. Well, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. So I think that you do know of a God, But you just need some education on what this is so that you understand. Because I don't know how you can call yourself, you ain't no Christian, but you believe in God. No, you know there is a God.
That part.
But I don't necessarily think you believe in him. So it's that. So but I do believe, you know, you may know of a God, and I just think that you just need some more education in what being a Christian is, or what believing in God means. And it's back to what we were talking about earlier, that faith and, you know, what you believe and that sort of thing. So yeah.
It's funny because I watch a lot of interviews and stuff, and it's this one particular guy, he said he don't believe in God. No, he's not a Christian, but quote so many scriptures.
Right. Give
it all to you. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. And I think non-churchgoers were just like me. We just needed a steady foundation. Like, we knew God and we kind of interested, but we just waiting for somebody to really break it down. Like, when people talk to me about football, I have no idea about football. Like, I don't watch sports, period. But that's because nobody has ever explained it to me to know what's going on. And I think that's what it comes to being like non-churchgoers. I think they have it in their mind of what they think is supposed to happen. And I think if they just got in a house where people can actually sit down and explain, like, you know what I'm saying? Like take whatever you think off of the mantle and just be in the moment and figure out what it is. And I think that's what I had to do. I had to figure it out for me.
Mm-hmm. But you got to get in here.
But you got to get in here.
So
I want to go to the streets, though.
Okay.
I would love to be that person with a microphone and a camera, walking up to people and saying, "Do you go to church?" No, I don't. Well, why don't you?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Why don't you?
Yeah, let's do it.
And just to hear it, because I want to hear real feedback from the people. I think we do ourselves a disservice being in the building trying to figure out why they're not in here.
Absolutely.
And even for the older saints who have stopped coming, because there's a reason why they decided to stop coming in here. Because sometimes they be like, "Oh, it's too loud," or "It's too this," and I'm used to this. But that's not where we live at anymore. So what's stopping you from going to church? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a great thing. We should do it. Ask people, like, why are you not in the building? What's your problem?
We going, what was the dude name? Hits from the street?
Yeah. Hits from the street.
Yeah, I like it, y'all.
Yeah.
I like it.
Absolutely. To figure out why.
Yeah. Just get real time feedback.
Yeah.
And they got answers.
Oh, they do.
Of course.
They got answers.
They do.
They'll tell you what folk in there mean. Or I can't wear this. Or I can't, like, they got answers. Or so-and-so, you know, I went in there and I had bad, you know, like, they got church hurt. They got
church hurt,
I mean, they got answers for you.
Oh, yeah.
They got answers.
Y'all really want to incorporate that?
Yeah.
And on this platform, we should do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
You got the first episode?
Absolutely.
Why you don't go to church? Episode 1?
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's do it.
That's easy. All right, so we're gonna get into this next clip.
One of us like that. Scriptures say, "Remain who you was when I first called." Like, God wants you, not the you who you become when you get called. Not the you who you become when you start going to church and they show you this like this. No. That ain't the God. That ain't the you that God want. God want the you that you saw in that young man video. He want the raw, pure form of you. Because again, here's what I keep saying. That right there, who we see, or that version of you. So like, let's not keep the picture of that young man in our mind.
Right.
What's that version of you?
Yeah, bottom
That's
line.
the God, that's the you that God want and can use, because that's your most purest form. That's when the people relate to you the most. That's when people gonna understand you the most. And so when he get you at that state and you putting that kind of word with it, that's what he need.
It's a certain people that's called to that, not the revamp of you. Like that's the whole thing. It's tough, dog, because at the end of the day, God wants to use the authentically you, not the revamp of you, not the dude that's in the suit and know all this homilies and
that ain't who you are. That's just what you got on.
No. Your assignment, it comes from you.
Your personality, your experiences, your journey, and like that's the thing about it. And we all got different journeys, so it's not saying that we all got to be out here like that young man. He got his own specific journey and experiences. I'm just saying you got to tap into your own natural experiences, your natural journey, your lesson that you learned, and be fine in that, whatever that is, at its rawest, purest sense, and operate in that. So, man, that scripture right there, it's one of my favorite scriptures. It says, "Be who you were when God first called you." right? It said, if you was uncircumcised, don't try to get circumcised now. You know, if you were uncircumcised, don't try to. It basically is saying, like, whoever you were when God called you, be that person. And so I tell people that all the time because as Nikki kind of alluded to earlier, I feel like a lot of times, talking about the last comment, when people figuring out why people don't come to church, I think some people think you got to get yourself right first and then they going to come in. Where it's like, I think that, or when you feel like you've been called by God, I think, yes, we're supposed to grow, we're supposed to mature and things of that nature, but I think we really change up who we are sometimes. And for me, when I read the scripture, remain who you were when God first called you, it's like, that's why I dress like this. This is who I am. This is who God called. I ain't trying to. God called the LJ that was outside. God called the LJ that talked to whoever he talked with and be around whoever he be around and be at the places that he be because he need me. Now, if he called me and then I try to switch up and then I don't wear this no more, or I don't talk to them people no more, or I don't go to them places no more, am I really being used, or am I allowing God to use me in the way in which he really wanted to use me? Because I tell people all the time, God need me to be me because I talk to who I talk to. Mm-hmm. Other pastors might not talk to a particular group. They may not be in places that I go. So he said, nah, you stay who you were when I first called you. I feel like that's where your anointing is. We always talking about authenticity and all that. Your anointing is in your authenticity. He wants you to be, I want Patrick to be Patrick. Because if Patrick stay Patrick, he gonna reach an audience that this next person can't reach. Yeah. But if Patrick try to get funny when he get called, now you ain't reaching that audience no more. You over here trying to reach this audience right here. It's like I talked to you about when we be ministering. Be funny. Yeah. Don't get out there and not try to be funny. You a comedian.
And you
be funny. I need you to be funny. Like you being you is gonna reach people that can't none of us reach because you funny. Now as soon as you get up there and start trying to be funny, now you didn't mess yourself up. Yeah. Now you ain't even really operating in the anointing that God put on you. He gave you the anointing of funny. Yeah. And if you take that away, now you ain't reaching the people that God wants you to reach. We all got our giftings. We all got our personalities. We all got, like, God made us individuals. And it was with intentionality. Nikki, you reach people the way you reach people. I see you online. What day you on?
Oh, we did 21 days.
See you on. Okay, so you done that.
Yeah.
You reaching people.
Yeah.
Getting on there. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Singing.
You reaching people.
Yeah.
You're reaching people.
And you know what's funny? I struggled with that for a little bit. Like when people see me, they be like, oh, Peacock, da, 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 da. But when I went through a point and I was like, all right, God, I really, really want to get this right. Like I saw some things. I was like, God, I could have done that better. I could have done that better. I could have done that better. And I had to really figure out like where my identity was rooted. Yeah. And it was rooted in God. And he had to be like, Nikki, you're fine. Like I gave you're Nikki Peacock for a reason. Like you're cool. Because at one point, I was like, well, God, should I change this? Should I not do this? Should I not do that? I like getting tattoos. Can I get tattoos? And he was just like, you said it, you was like, be who God called you to be. And I'm like, this is just me. Right. And now when people be like, you were at church? Yes, girl, I go to church. Like, this is how I serve. This is who I am. Because I talk to everybody and people connect to me on another level because I'm who I am.
Absolutely.
And they be like, where you go to church? Like, man, let me tell you about this place called The Mount.
Absolutely. I love y'all. One of the best things that I love is when people find out that I'm the pastor. I love it.
Yeah.
We be out somewhere, somebody got to tell them he the pastor. They be like, he the pastor? I love it.
Yeah.
That's one, like, I can't tell y'all the feeling that make me,
yeah, because
you know what I mean?
You're not putting on. You know what I'm saying? You remember, it used to be a time, and this is not no knock on pastors from old times, right. But they had a certain aura. Right. They carried themselves a certain way, and they spoke a certain way. You know what I mean? I never forget, when I first started speaking, and this was to young people, people used to tell me the second I unmounted the pulpit, they would say, man, you make them laugh too much. You ain't supposed to be doing all that.
Right.
You up there making them laugh and da-da-da-da. And Bishop helped me with that because Bishop, I'm like, I watched this man make them laugh. He go through a full
storyline. Yeah.
He doing a set. I'm watching this man. I'm like, he is hilarious.
Yes.
And some people say, oh, he missed his calling. No. He doing
Yeah,
exactly what
Absolutely.
God called him to do,
Absolutely.
the way God called him to do it.
Absolutely.
So, and he helped me with that, with saying, you probably reach people better because you do break them down with the laughter, and then they're able to receive
Absolutely.
the words from God or
Absolutely.
what God placed on your heart to give because they've laughed. And
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's all it's a mental thing, but and they used to beat me up, man. I never forget it. The minute I come, well, you could have done this right. If you'd have done this different, you made them laugh too much on that point. Like that was a serious point, and but I'm like, if I felt laughter, I didn't write the joke in.
Right. Yeah.
I never sat down while I'm writing a sermon and be like, oh,
this is
LOL.
a good joke right here. Right.
Oh, this the one.
This gonna kill it right here.
No,
Right.
I'm legit, and most of the time,
It's
if
who
a
you are.
laughing point come out, it is my
It's who
sense
you
of
are.
humor.
It's
That's
who you are.
me. So once I became comfortable with that, and I'm sorry, but I had to say, man, forget y'all.
Right.
Y'all don't see it the way I see it.
Right.
Because even with that, people would
They
say,
don't have that
I don't even
gifting.
know where you get that from.
Yeah, they don't have
I'm
that
like,
gifting.
y'all just it's different up here, and y'all may not
They don't
understand
have
that,
that
and that's
gifting.
okay.
Absolutely.
And you know what? Another thing is when you are truly being your authentic self and who God has created you to be, you get to go after the one. God always talks about the 99 and how
Right.
he left the 99 to go
Go get
after
the
the
one.
one.
Yeah.
And so many people are focused on the 99.
Absolutely.
But we need to focus. You're after that one.
Absolutely.
And it's where you're at in that right, that right point of view where you're wearing that outfit, or you making people laugh.
Yeah.
And God's like, yeah, I called you to that one, not the 99.
That's it.
How many people are carbon copies of somebody
Absolutely.
else?
Absolutely.
I mean, you look at the biggest pastor at the time. You know, it's always waves.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll see them do the same exact
Right.
thing they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a hairstyle, a certain posture,
Yeah.
certain mannerism. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, God, when I first went to MIT, I said, I don't want to be that.
Right.
No. If I'm going to do this thing,
Absolutely.
I got to be me.
Absolutely.
Because nobody can beat me being me. I seen a quote that says something like that, be you, because nobody can beat you at being
That's it.
you.
That's
I'm going to
it.
be me, man.
That's it.
And I'm my best. When I'm me, when I'm out there
Absolutely.
trying to be somebody else, I
God
don't
bless
talk.
it when you
I don't
trying to be
talk that
somebody
great.
else.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I don't have all the dialect and the
Right.
proper words and the
Right.
English, and I'm like, I listen to, and I gotta say Bishop. I'm listening to Bishop. I'm like, okay, wow,
Yeah.
and it just is plain.
Yeah. Yeah.
You receive it like
Absolutely.
that. So we gotta go after who God called us to go after.
And the only way you can do that is if you being you. That's why he say, I called you. Remain who you were when I called you. Not this person that you getting ready to try to be
you trying
after
to
I
fake
call you.
Right.
And you
No,
know what?
remain as you were when I called you.
I think a lot of times people struggle with that because social media is so, and people scroll, and they be like, oh, I just want to be like this. I want to be like this. I want to be like this. And God is like, I ain't blessed you to be like that.
But it also looks like say for instance, a level of success. Those people look like they got it.
Yeah.
So if I mimic them, I can
I
get
can
there
get it.
just as quick.
Uh-huh.
Right.
No, your journey is your journey.
journey is
and
your
as soon
journey.
as we realize that our journey is our journey, then
And the
we'll be
best
better
part
off.
about God is he loves us so much, he customized your journey for you.
Just
He
for
sits
you.
down and be like, this is strictly for
Just
you.
for
Like,
you.
I made this handcrafted
Right.
just for you.
But here's the thing with all that.
Right,
I can keep bringing it right back to the scripture. If you don't stay to you that he called, then you ain't even walking down the right path to get to your destiny. He got it already. It's it's laid out.
What? Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the
I
plans
know the plans I
have
got for you. But in order for you to get that, you got to remain who you were
Don't switch up on me.
when I called you. Keep wearing them glasses.
That part, because it's my favorite.
Keep switching that hair.
You
up.
know it.
Keep being funny.
Yeah, you are funny.
Appreciate
You gotta remain who you were when I called you.
Yeah.
We gotta be comfortable in that though. We gotta be comfortable in it, be confident in it. I know with myself, I wrestle with it every week. It's like, is it good enough? I'm following behind Bishop. Do I gotta do this? Do I gotta say it like that? Do I gotta use this phrase? No, you gotta do it the only way God will allow you to do it.
And I think it helps because you are who you are, and you're going to be you.
Yeah.
And so, whatever's on the head is always going to fall to the house. And I think that people are now starting to get in their own authentic ways because you like, I'm just not going to change.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm never going to be bishop. That's not who God called me to be.
Absolutely.
And I think that everybody, I feel like everybody in the house, in the mount, is starting to say, oh, yeah, it's okay for me to be
Absolutely.
me. It's okay for me to come in here and do, what I got to do.
Absolutely.
I think we're opening the windows a little bit and saying, hey, no, we good. Like,
Absolutely.
You could be you. Like, you could do that.
Absolutely. And I ain't trying to be funny. I see y'all, and not even just in the mount with people in the house. I see them pastors, they switching up too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they switching up.
I
say they style changing. I say, oh yeah, I see y'all. I see y'all. Y'all talk about me. I see y'all though.
No, but that's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
Next
The
clip.
next hottest thing.
What you got, Sam?
I think what I got is being yourself. I think the reason God wants us to be ourselves is for souls, to win souls. Like, people
Absolutely.
can relate. And I'm going to tell a story that I've seen, but people can relate to you more when you're being yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're being yourself, you're not trying to be perfect. You're going
Absolutely.
to be honest. You're going to be transparent. And I think it was a funeral a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick got up there, right? And I saw this happen. I was like, oh. But he got up there, he's about to get into the word.
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw him pause. He was just like, yeah, I just want y'all to know I'm a comedian, blah, blah,
Right.
blah. So I might say some things. And he had people rolling.
Yeah.
At the funeral house.
Yeah.
Like, there was little joy in there because he was, being himself. And, once everything was said and done and we get to the spiritual decision, like, I want to say 90% of the people gave their life to Christ.
Yeah.
Wow.
Based on him just being like, you know what, I'm gonna just be myself.
Right.
Because I know when people go into funerals, they probably like,
Absolutely.
I gotta be like
Absolutely.
holier than that. I gotta be reverent. Of
Right.
course you're gonna be reverent, but you have to fit this certain mold. And that was the first time I saw a funeral preach like that.
Right.
So I was just like, that is
Me too.
crazy. Oh yeah, you was there too.
Yeah.
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 And all them people, the souls that were won that day,
Absolutely.
that was huge just because you
Absolutely.
wanted to be yourself. So
Absolutely.
praise God.
Praise God.
And I
Yeah.
commend you
Yeah,
for
definitely.
doing that
Praise
too.
God.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thank you. And that's nobody but God. And I ain't just
Absolutely.
saying it because that's
Right.
who it was.
Right.
Because I was nervous as I don't know what. And I know, okay, be me. But I gotta salute Pastor LJ. I gotta salute you, man, because man, I got a brother, right? My brother is the complete opposite of me.
Okay.
I got two brothers, but one of them is, we like yin and yang. He serious all the time. He ain't doing too much laughing all
Right.
and I thought he was the coolest guy. I'm talking about just mellow.
Okay.
No, you gotta be.
tell him.
I'm like, don't nothing move this brother.
I told you the best one to say, don't he?
Look, I'm in there. How many times did I move out that chair during that funeral? I done moved. I done went outside.
You was
came back
squirming a little
in.
bit. You was squirming a little
Pastor
bit.
Fer- he asked Pastor Ferber, "Where's Patrick?" He said, "He gonna be all right." but I had to talk to him, and I'm asking. I'm like, man, should I do this? Should I do that? He said, man, be you.
Yep.
Do you.
Yep.
They called you. They ain't called nobody. They called you. Do you. However God gave it to you, you do you. And
That's
that
your
right
first
there,
funeral?
that was my first funeral.
How did you feel when you got the call?
Oh, I did everything to duck and dodge it. Yeah, I'm out of town that week.
Right.
They said, really? They said, well, they'll wait. The family gonna hold it till you. When you come back, it'll be ready.
Body still be here.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, and I was like, me?
Really?
I said, well, I ain't ordained.
Yeah.
I brought up everything.
You gave everything.
I gave everything. Pastor Verb said, I'll be there.
Yeah.
You're intern under me.
Yep.
Pastor be there.
That's
And Pastor gonna be there too.
Yeah.
I said, y'all can do it.
yeah.
I tried everything.
Yeah.
No, this is your assignment.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
what happens.
And-
God
Your
make it
assignment.
your
Why?
assignment.
Because it was a young person, right?
Yeah.
Who Patrick had a relationship with.
Yeah.
And mom said, no, they know who you are.
Yeah.
That's why they called you.
Yeah.
That's
So if you
dope.
would have got up there and did any, if you would have got up there and did something different, all them souls wouldn't have came.
That's a fact. Yeah.
Or
I
somebody else
truly
would've
believe
preached.
it.
All them souls wouldn't have came. They wouldn't have came.
So and at the end of it, and once that happened, I say, okay, God.
That's it.
Wow.
That's
This you.
dope.
We said I got a little confidence at the
Got a
end.
little- yeah.
We
he
got
did,
time.
He did.
Go ahead,
We
talk
got
about
time.
it.
We got time.
He got
Y'all come
confident.
on.
Once that one person came up, made that decision. Oh, he ain't
That was
rushing
it.
in. Yeah, no, he ain't rushing
Hey, I
in.
get back to the scene. He told me you got comfortable up there. I leaned on the podium one, two times. Yeah, y'all come on. We got time. Yeah. Close your eyes. Oh, two more coming. Okay. All right. Look, there's some more here. Ask your neighbor, is it you?
Okay.
He got.
No, but
yeah.
but that was nobody but God,
Yeah.
man. And again, salute to you.
No, absolutely.
Because
It's all
you
God.
gave me that calming.
all God.
I'm looking at you like, okay, this dude, man.
At-
Budget.
Yeah.
Done.
But you know, it's easy to be calm when you ain't the one that get
I
ready to have
know,
to.
but
yeah,
man,
yeah.
the level of, I'm like, I'm in there, lady hollering. I had to step out.
Yeah.
They played a montage. First of all, you notice one or two good songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna take you out of the
Yeah.
film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They started playing that montage. Them pictures started rolling. People started reminiscing. Then I heard that mother say,
Yeah.
one of the mothers and grandma. She was
Yeah.
grandma. I had to step out.
Yeah.
Because I'm already sensitive. I'm already an emotional dude. I'm like,
Yeah.
Wow.
she say, you all right? I said, I'm all right.
Man,
Had to get
God
it
is
together,
good,
but yeah,
man. God is good. Remain who you were when God first called you.
Yes, sir.
What we got, Sam?
You mentioned y'all got 3 kids. You talk to all of them differently because of different people. God speaks to us in so many different ways. Why do you think people don't understand how God speaks to them?
When we ask that, number one, you kind of feel like you already hear God talking to you anyway.
Right.
That's why you trying to figure out how I know if God talking to you.
Right.
Because you already kind of,
Yeah.
you feel like you hear him trying to whisper something to you now.
Mhm.
Right? What I say is, I think if you find yourself there, then maybe you're not spending enough time with him, right? So basically, you're not reading enough, right? You're not in your Bible enough. You're not spending that quiet time alone with him enough. Just letting him talk with you. You trying to talk with him and figure out. I just think you not spending enough time and reading enough to have it down in you for him to be able to come back up and talk to you
Right.
in your time of need, right? It's
Right.
like you got a little bit of it in you. Like you got a little bit of what grandma, you know what I'm saying, gave you. You got a little bit of what mama might have put down. Like how you were saying earlier, you was hearing them, but you weren't really listening. So like what you heard a little bit, you got that down in you a little bit, which is why he can get to you in that little soft whisper.
Right.
Cause you got that. It's in you a little teeny
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
what grandma had told you, but you don't have enough in you to really bring it back out, right? And I think for me, that's why I think people have the hardest time really understanding or really hearing God's voice. Cause we really, if we honest,
Yeah.
we really not spending enough time. We go to church, we catch Bible study, we might hear a little bit, but again, that's enough for he can. But when you really trying to have that conversation, that's why you can't really grab because you're not spending enough time. What y'all think about that? Because I always, it's exactly what I said. I always feel like that's one of the most common questions you get in church. Man, how I know when God talking to me?
And it's always one of the first questions.
That's one of the most common
people
questions. How I know when
immediately
God
come
talking
here
to
and
me?
Be like, how I know God talking to me?
Yeah, well, I feel like I said, you already feel like he trying to talk to you. That's why you got that question. I think God trying to, but you can't decipher, like you ain't really sure. Is that God talking to me? Am I talking to myself?
Right.
So you want me to say, no, he sound like this
Yeah.
and he gonna,
Yeah.
I can't tell you that. But you at least feel like God might be trying to talk to me. And like I said, I really think it's just, God talking to you, he can only talk to you to the level of your time spent with him.
Come on. That's it. That's what I was
Right.
going to say.
And so I just think that's exactly what it is. You get a little bit of because grandma didn't, gave you a few scriptures or, your mama didn't pray for it. So you got a little bit. So that's why you can, it's like, dang, is he? I think he said something, but you ain't got enough in you to really where he can speak loud to you.
That's good.
It's just quiet because you ain't got that much in you. So it's like I think I hear him, but I ain't sure, man. Hey, man, how I know if God talking to me? spend a little more time with him so that voice can get louder. Yeah. The more time you spend with him, the louder the voice gonna get. You just don't got enough down in you to really be able to turn the volume up on what he's saying. And so I just think a lot of times, you know, people ask, it's like, man, no, just spend some more time. If you really trying to make sure that you can hear God's voice, or if you really trying to figure out how I know when God's speaking to me, spend more time with him.
Yeah, that's 100%. I remember having that same question, that same thought, that same feeling. Man, I don't hear from God. I would boldly tell you, I don't hear from God. Been in church forever. I don't hear from God. I ain't had no relationship.
That's it.
How does a baby know
his mama's voice? Absolutely.
Spent time with him.
Absolutely.
Spent time.
Absolutely.
And the more I got into his word, the more I started communicating with him, the clear that audible voice. I'm talking about clear as day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
And I really like that that podcast because Sean, he'll have you thinking.
Yeah, he a thinker.
Sean King have you thinking somewhere else.
Thinker.
And I liked it because he said that God speaks to everybody differently. So a lot of times, like when my mom passed away, God gave me the full blown out dream the night before, literally from start to finish. So like for me, like I had that same question. Like I'm thinking it's gonna be an audible voice, but I think for me sometimes God communicates with me through my dreams and definitely in His Word. But it wasn't until I got in a posture and I actually sat in quiet time. I'm a talker by nature, and sometimes we could talk ourselves out of God's voice. Right. We could be sitting there talking so much. We asking God a whole bunch of stuff, and I had to get in a posture where I sit and listen. You got to be intentional how to listen. But also what I've learned is you got to know how you retain information. Like wisdom and knowledge is the fact that you can like give feedback. That's how you know you got it.
Right.
So you got to know how you communicate and how God communicates with you. So that's, again, another intimate relationship with God, and be in a posture sometimes where you can cut everything off and just be in a quiet moment. Sometimes if I feel like a lot of stuff is going on, I'll sit in quiet like, all right, God. Yeah. And I think a lot of times that is how you can start to develop a way that God communicates with you, because I think everybody is maybe different.
That's good. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with that. He, like you said, he mentioned that God speak with everybody different. And I agree with that. He may speak through a dream, he may speak, audibly through the word. There's different ways that God can speak to you just while you walking down the street, and he'll drop a sign to you.
Yeah.
Or what was it? Description of the sign where the bird came. He's like, okay, I knew the bird was there. I know land got to be around. So like he'll find ways to speak to you. And we were talking about children. You speak to your children differently. Anybody, if you're a leader, you got to know, I can talk to Patrick this way, but I got to talk to Nikki like this. I got to, everybody, I agree, God speaks to all of us differently, no different than we do with our children. I talk to KJ different than I talk to Jackson. Talk to both of them way different than I talk to baby girl Kennedy. It's not because everybody got different personalities. Everybody receives differently. Yep. And so I do agree. That's why we can't necessarily answer the question, he gonna sound like this, he gonna come like this, he gonna do, because you got to spend time, as Patrick said, you got to spend time with him and find out how God gonna speak to you. But the only way you gonna start to be able to hear him loudly or clearly is if you spend the time. You got to spend the time. You can't get around spending the time. And once you spend the time, then you will find out, okay, this how God deal with me. This how God speak to me. Yeah. This when he speaks to me. This, you'll find all that out the more time you spend with him.
And I think it's, this real quick, I think it's almost like when somebody is calling your phone, you might not pick up on their voice the first time, but the more they call you, the more you talk to them, you'll know.
You know it right
just
away.
Just by picking up, oh, hey, so-and-so.
You know it right away. Absolutely.
That's how it is.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't got to see the name.
Every day.
Absolutely.
It's just we got to weed through, you know what I'm saying, the other stuff.
Absolutely. They don't even got to greet you right. You can be like, yo, you already know who it is.
Yeah.
And you spent that time. Absolutely.
Want to read a comment to you real quick.
Okay.
I think this is a good one. I'm not even going to try to say this name, but you know who you are. This was right on point, Pastor LJ. This is something I've actually questioned. Is that actually God speaking to me, or is it me? Thank you for the clarity. I thought that was good because you actually provided a solution for somebody. So, yeah, great comment. All right, I'm going to go to this next clip.
And see, and I've had this conversation with my parents, much older now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Y'all left out some important information when I was coming up.
A lot of information.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to go so far, I'm cutting you off, but hold your thought.
Okay.
The previous generation did not tell us the truth, man. They didn't tell us the truth about a lot of different things.
Absolutely.
They didn't tell us the truth.
Absolutely.
To your point, they left out a lot of info.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my parents are one of them. You know what I mean? And no malintent there.
Right.
It's just, and I think the times were different back then.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
But in doing that, things get missed. And so you go outside of the house
And you find out.
some other stuff that's going on in this world that your mom and daddy might not have, or your family might not have even told you about.
Absolutely.
And so now you got to, you hoping you do have a relationship with God because it's going to get tested.
Absolutely. Yeah.
On a major level.
Definitely.
So, and hip hop, in my opinion, played a major role in that.
Absolutely. It exposed you to what
It exposed you to that.
family or anybody else may not have been telling you. But like, again, when you grew up, and again, in hindsight, we thankful for that mom and daddy that was telling you,
Absolutely.
come home, be home at this time.
At that time, you're
don't
not,
be
though.
doing that. Don't act like that. You can't be. At that time,
No.
it was like, come on, mama, come on.
why I
Dad.
gotta
Like,
do
man,
this?
man, everybody out
Why I
there,
gotta
man. We just hanging out.
LJ over there,
Yeah,
I can't
so-
go over
so-
there with him. I can't go out with him.
You didn't like it at the time.
Right.
But in hindsight, yes, you are very appreciative.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying, for that balance, man. You definitely needed that balance. I know y'all can relate to that.
Yeah. And especially as far as parenting though. But sometimes I question, did they even know?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think they did the best they could with what they had. You know what I'm saying? And we had that conversation before as far as when you're a parent, man, you really out here winging it.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
But you really out here.
Definitely.
I mean, you are feeling your way in the dark. This is no joke. Nothing. I put the post up the other day. Nothing prepares you for parenting. I don't care how long you wait. I don't care how long you've been married. I don't care how much money you got. Nothing prepares you for that journey of parenting.
You got to jump in it.
I
Got to jump feet first. So no, I didn't set you up for success. I ain't know it. I didn't have the answers.
I was watching. I think,
Look at me.
Look at me. I made it out.
I think Beverly Hills Cop, and he was telling his daughter that, like, I've been a dad as long as you've been a daughter.
Okay,
And
you watched that new one.
Yeah, and I think, when he said that, it put a lot of things in perspective, even like when it comes to not only our relationship with God, but so many other things, our relationship with money, how we treat people, how we go to school, how we live. Your parents give you certain sets of rules, but they only can give you with what they have.
True.
And so I think a lot, and they left us in the dark with a lot of stuff, but I think even like parents today, they give you what they can give you at the time they can give you. Then it's up to you to want something more.
True. I agree with that. I do agree with that. But I ain't gonna let the parents all the way off the hook.
I don't have a kid, so I
ain't gonna let them all the way off the hook. I do agree that you can only help, to the level of your knowledge. I do agree. What I'm gonna say though is I think that they left some information out though just intentionally.
Yeah.
Right, it's different ways that go about it. Right, you got some parents that not gonna express even certain things about themselves, how they grew up, stuff that they was involved in, stuff that they played part in, participated in. They ain't gonna tell you about. They ain't gonna tell you about none of that. Right. Then you got some parents that say, "Look, I'm gonna tell you exactly how it is." Cause that's what I'm gonna do with mine. I ain't. You ain't gonna go out here and say you ain't know.
Yeah, no, I got you.
No,
okay. So
this how it go down. This what they gonna say. They first of all they gonna lie to you cause they don't know either. I'm gonna just tell you what it is out here. I ain't really getting ready to sugarcoat. And it's back to we talking about earlier, just how maybe that was something else I was talking about. Just how the generation before us learned how to, put on, whereas like they come in church, they look like they clean, they do it like they don't do nothing in the world, and it's like, man, good as soon as you get home.
That's who coming off.
So I think that, they left out information, and to the point in the clip, it's like now when you get outside, once you get of age, you start seeing things in a different light from which mom and daddy told you. Like, you ain't tell me it was like this. Or, if you watch that clip further, that's, for those of y'all who haven't seen, y'all go back and watch these clips. But if you go back and watch further, we talked about how, you know, as a child, you know, we are pretty much raised in a village. You know, they say it take a village to raise a child, right? So we are pretty much raised in a village. You know, you got certain people that your parents keep you around. You know, you can't really go too far. You know, it's this square amount of people. Whether it was people at church or whether if you weren't at church, it was, you know, your close family, maybe a little extended family. It was a certain amount of people that shaped your world.
Yeah.
However you saw it. And what happens is you grow up and you find out that everybody in the world ain't like this group of people right here that I was raised around. So you'll grow up thinking that everybody is like Aunt Sarah, you know. But when you get outside, no, just because you 60 years old, you think that everybody just like 60-year-old Aunt Sarah, just nice. You want a mint, baby. And then when you get to work at the shipyard and 60-year-old, she ain't the same. It's different.
Yeah.
No, he ain't like Uncle JoJo, like. But if Uncle JoJo would have gave you a little more insight, if Aunt Sarah would have filled you in on a little more and not just made you think that, you know, this what it is, then you would have had a little more information, as we said in the clip, when you got outside the world.
No, that's real.
I think we came from a generation that was do as I say, not as I do. And now that these kids now have so much access to more information, now we have to really walk it like we talk it. Like we just can't sell them something and not be living.
Well, we live like that anyway.
Yeah.
We don't really see that's the good and the bad of this generation now. You know, it's what you get what you see.
What you get. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't say one thing and then do something different.
Yeah.
No, we say and do the exact same thing. Whether you in front of me, whether you not in front of me, and whether it's good or bad. So it's like it's back to that authenticity piece. We just gonna be who we are. And I think it's our gift and our curse.
Okay.
Cause see, I think sometimes we need a little bit of what mama and them had. Like you got to know when to reel that thing in a little bit. But it's the gift because it's like, man, we gonna be who we are.
You over there thinking I see the smoke.
We gonna be who we are.
Yeah, because he helped me, especially when you talk about that square of people.
Yeah.
And if anybody did anything contrary to what we wanted you to be exposed to, you ain't going over there no more.
Yeah.
You ain't going around there no more. They do too much. You know, than what I want you to see.
Don't you be like Uncle Billy now.
Exactly.
Don't you be like
I
Uncle
think
Billy.
it's important to be around Uncle Billy because Uncle Billy looked just like Kenneth. You know what I'm saying? Aunt Sarah is Brenda.
That's what I'm saying.
Times 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think, I think they did us a disservice.
You do?
On that part, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got you on
See
that.
I see how I got him.
I got you on that part. I was talking about something different. I was coming from a different perspective.
Yeah, and I agree with that too.
That makes sense. I think they did. Yeah. On certain things. Yeah.
So can I ask both of y'all something? Because y'all both are dads. How is that shaping y'all as being dads for y'all kids? Because y'all both have boys. And of course we live in a different generation now. You got to talk to your boys different. So like how does that, like do you like with your parents, being that y'all grew up in church, do y'all put any stipulations on y'all kids to come to church or like?
Oh yeah, you come to church.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you come to church. So I mean, for me, it's all the biblical stuff. I'm gonna follow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. It's just I can't. I mean, it ain't no gray area with that with me. Like all the biblical stuff, I'm gonna follow. Yes, you come to church. Yes, you gotta learn how to pray. Yes, you gonna say your grace before you eat. I mean, even just at the little baby stage. So I'm gonna do all that, but at the same time, you know, it's like a balance. It's just like so with KJ, we started him off in private school, right? He went to Atlantic Shores till up into the 4th grade. But I don't want him to stay in private school all the way through. I want him to get the little public school side too. It's like I want him to be well rounded. I want him to be versed. So I feel like it's the same thing with church. It's like I need him to know everything he's supposed to know, biblically centered, Bible based, church. We got to go to church on Sundays. We talked about earlier. It's important. It ain't just something that we just do because that's just what we do. No, it's important. Here's why you got to go to church. Here's why you should know how to pray. Here's why you should have your own relationship with God. So you got to know that. But at the same time, I can't make him think that it's just church and nothing else. I still want him to experience life. I still want him to understand how it is to be on the teams and how it is to hang around at school and be at the school, at the party after school, and how you supposed to behave at the, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not, you can't just do everything with church. It can't just be church and Sunday school and vacation Bible school and summer camp. It's like, you got to get some of the outside world too. So for me, and just having real conversations. Like I told y'all, I'm going to tell them what it is outside. No daddy won't always know pastor. My mama tell you, my mama showed me, she was like, look, you see that on my finger right here? That's from when the seed popped. She showed me on her finger. Yeah. Be honest with your children.
Be honest.
No, you won't always the pastor. You won't always, I don't mind Nikki saying she met me when we was outside. That's not a secret. That's not a secret. That's not something that I want to hide. You gotta let people to be able to see all sides of you. Now, I agree. You ain't, Nikki better not say everything. But it's like Bishop say, he ain't what Bishop say? He said he not transparent, he translucent. Yeah. Like I can't let you see everything.
Yeah. But
you want to be as honest and as transparent as you can, especially with your children. That's how they learn. You their first teacher. You who they watching. You who they, paying attention to. Man, I promise you, man, the other day, so you know how guys do. We all, good or bad, not, we kind of hide our pants down a little bit, right? And so I caught myself because I seen KJ and Jackson in the house. So they in the house. At first it was KJ. He walking around. He just got his little pajama pants on or whatever. They down a little bit, right? So I start telling him to pull his pants up. I sound like an old man. Man, pull your pants up. But then I noticed my pants was down a little bit. Then I ain't paid no attention. I'm in the house.
You in the house, right?
I just got my shorts on, whatever, pants down a little bit. Then the other day, man, I promise y'all, I seen Jackson, 6 years old. He got his pants down a little bit. Man, pull your pants up, man. But then I'm like, I'm being a hypocrite. Because before I told him to pull his up, I had to pull mine up right quick. Mm-hmm. Man, pull your pants up, man. So they watching everything you do anyway. Mm. So it's not that do as I, what is it?
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, no, it gotta be both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It gotta be both. You gotta say the right thing. You gotta model the right thing. But then at the same time, don't act like that you always say and do the right thing.
Right.
Acknowledge that. Tell the truth. So for me and my parents, and that's how I just try to be upfront and just truthful with them.
Yeah. So I'll jump on the word that you use, balance.
Yeah.
It got to be a balance. I think I am who I am because of balance. I did grow up in church, but I got some family members that ain't church. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I can pinpoint, I don't want to do that because I remember what that did to Unc. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pops did that. So that ain't gonna vibe too well. You know what I'm saying? So I can appreciate my journey because I learned from other people's mistakes. I am where I am because of other people's mistakes. Right. And I can accredit that to my parents for not letting me, I might not have seen it all, but I still was exposed to it enough to know. Absolutely. Like I'll never forget my uncle, he's a Q, right? Mm-hmm. And he had these brands on his arm. I never forget as a kid, I asked him, man, what is that? Mm-hmm. What is that? Right. And he was like, I tell you when you get older. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay. I got older. I ain't need him to tell me no more because I found it out for myself. Right. So then there was some of that in life too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Whereas then they did kind of keep some stuff from us because you didn't need to know certain things at a certain time. Absolutely. But I think you definitely should be authentic. Right. Authentic.
It get you. It get you.
I wanted to put that one.
It get you.
I was ready for it.
Make you a whole nother word.
You don't know whether you need to cut off at authentic or add the
that tongue got right. Authentic. Being authentic and that balance. So again, I'm going to model and I'm going to say and do, and then I'm gonna let them know exactly what it was.
Absolutely.
This is what it is.
Exactly.
Just like I am with these teens now. Hey, boy, you smell. Boy, you loud.
And
That part, listen.
Boy, you loud.
I think they appreciate it more
Yeah.
too, man. Just be
real.
tell me, man.
Yeah, just be honest.
Tell me.
Miss Patrick, for real, how you know about it? Boy, you loud.
Okay, I hear you.
I talked to
from
her
over
just.
here.
How you know?
Yeah, how you
That's
know?
what they want to know. How you know?
How you know? Come on, man, cut it out.
Yeah.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
No, how you know?
Cut it out.
No, how you know?
Cut it out. I'm telling you and him. Cut it
You
out.
say, okay, sir.
Patrick said next clip.
Yeah. Roll it.
Mels, I want to kind of stay where we was at. Ain't it funny, man, how when you young, when you're a kid, our parents always like, you know, you can be whatever you want. You know, don't be a follower, be a leader.
Yeah.
You know, make sure you have your own mind. Like I was saying earlier, make your own mind up and things like that, right?
Yeah, I like where you go
And
with
then,
this.
but when you get a little bit older, it's like when you have your own mind
Yeah. And you don't even got to get that much older.
and you don't go the way everybody else going.
Yeah.
Now it's like, now you almost considered rebellious.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
or
like
it's
they
like
like,
you're
hold on,
trying to
hold on,
go
hold
against
on.
the grain. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
well, y'all taught us to have our own mind and not be followers. And
Right. We just doing it. We just doing it.
or is it until we not following
Yeah.
the lane you want us to go?
We
You just
talk
don't-
about edgy
you-
subjects.
You just don't want us to be a follower to everybody else out
Yeah,
here.
for sure.
But you want me to keep following the ways in which you want me to follow.
For sure. And
So, and I
those
think
things.
that's the hardest part about being you, even for myself, when it's people that, you know, and it might not even be outside people, right? But it's people that you clue with and close to and
Yeah.
know you
Yeah.
that still try to get you to go down this lane right
Yeah,
here,
for
bro.
sure. Yeah.
How y'all feel about that one? I know
That's
y'all
good.
got a little bit of rebellion in you.
Oh man.
You know,
that-
but then you grow up like that though, then they tell you, man, you know, don't. If they jump off the bridge, you gonna jump too?
Yes, sir. They tell you that in a heartbeat.
You know, you
fast.
you
Every
know,
time
that-
you want to do something.
That's
If
what they
go
taught
without
you.
so and you like, I just want to go to the party.
That's what they taught you. That's what they always taught you.
Yeah.
You know, have your own mind. You know, don't be no leader. I mean, don't be no follower. Be a leader, and you can be whatever you want to be. That's what didn't they tell you that in kindergarten,
Yep,
first
and then when
grade,
you start
second
doing
grade?
Then
it,
you
like,
get off that path. Hold on, wait a
wanna
minute.
ask questions.
So what's up with that? What's up with that? Cause now when we get older, like I said in the clip, now as soon as you get older, and I got my own mind, I'm not no follower, and you told me I could be what I want to be. Now when I start to get off the path in which you think
What
I'm
you thought I
going,
was supposed to do. And you know what? I honestly think that it's maturity. A lot of times, people want to please their parents, just like we want to please God, and we can get caught up in that. Wanting to please our parents and be who they, you know what I'm saying? Because we like, you know, mom, dad, they got
definitely, you want your mom and dad to be proud of you.
Yeah, and I think that it's so contrary in your brain to be like, but I want to do this instead. And then you have to rationalize it to be like, all right, I'm going to have to step out here and do my own thing. And it's wanting to be the one that doesn't mind walking down that path by yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to conform
Yeah,
and
definitely.
be what everybody wants you to be.
Definitely.
It's harder to stand out and say, nah, I got to do my own thing. It works better for me.
Absolutely. Because if you don't go down that path, then you might not get the support that you would get if you conform.
Part.
That's the
And
truth.
people don't. And a lot of people don't want to do it by themselves.
Absolutely.
But you gotta be. But sometimes you gotta be willing to do. Say, you know what, God, I trust you enough. And if it's just me and you, it's just gonna have to be me and you.
That's it.
So yeah.
That's it. What you think, Patrick?
Well, when I stepped out there like that, it wasn't the path that they had for me. And I'll say my parents or my dad wanted me to go into the military.
Okay.
I knew I wasn't a school guy. You know, I was like, I got through high school.
Right.
I don't want to go to college.
Yeah.
I knew that. I
I
ain't
was
even
like
take
that.
my
I was like
SATs.
that. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
for what?
I don't need
What?
them. You don't need them.
You did take it.
No, I couldn't even tell you what day
I
it was.
did at least take the
Yeah,
SAT.
well, that's
I did
good.
not.
Nah, it wasn't no need.
I didn't
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
Say one.
I
don't
knew-
need for me either, but I went on here.
I knew, mine didn't even. No, I don't even know when it is. But for me, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to get some money. You know, that was my main thing. I wanted to get some money, and I didn't want to wait a long time.
Right.
Because these boys out here got some money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember we grew up in the age where them boys they had nights, and it was enticing.
Yeah, it was getting to it.
You know what I'm saying? You know, so for me, I seen a cousin that went into the merchant seaman. I said, I want to go do that. It's legal. I want to do that.
Came back
That's
with
what
a
I'm going
truck.
to do. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, Pops, I seen the Navy stuff. And Navy boys get it too. But it wasn't fast as the merchant seaman.
Right.
You know, I heard they go out there and make a bag, come on back and get whatever they want. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So, yeah. So I want to do that. So it wasn't necessarily the path. And again, you might not have that support. You know what I mean? But I had to do something like, you know, I still had to go take the ASVAB.
Right.
Failed it on purpose. Right. But I had to go take it just to say I took it.
Right.
Act distraught. There, you see it now. I had to act distraught. Oh, man.
Knew what the results were going to be.
Knew what it was going to be. I went down there and did this.
It's crazy.
Because I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I got on my path as far as merchant seaman. I got my cards. I got my passport. I got my this. I knew what I wanted to do. Yeah. And sometimes I hate when parents do that, but sometimes they got to trust you a little bit.
A little bit.
You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit. Now, if I'm off the beaten path and I'm out here messing up, that's different.
Yeah.
But if I'm out here still trying to be a successful, productive citizen in this world, hey, let me fly a little bit.
Yeah.
If I crash,
just be there to catch me.
Just catch me.
Yeah.
See,
you know what I'm
I
saying?
was completely different. My parents gave me and my sister so much leeway.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it was not like you had to do this. It was like, whatever, figure it out. Like, you need to figure it out. Oh, my God, yes.
Push you out the nest. Fly.
Now, see, they said you're going to do something.
No,
you know what I mean? I do remember that.
Mine was not like that. Me and my sister, we, like, literally, to God be the glory that God always covered us. Like, I was one of those people, like, I didn't finish high school. I dropped out. My mom didn't care. Like, I went and got my GED and I went to college because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. I've always wanted to do hair, but I got a chance to do everything I wanted to do. I was that person. I was like, oh, I want to try this, and I was able to try it. Nobody was ever like, you should probably do this or you should probably do that. I almost joined the military and everything, and I was like, I can't get my nails done? No, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. I'm not going. But I had the privilege. It could be like a blessing and a curse, but I got it at a young age. Like, I was able to try everything. Nobody was like, here, you should try this, or you should do this, you should do this. It was like, hey, you got to figure this out because you need to take care of yourself.
Okay.
And so I had worked just about every job you could think of trying to figure out what my lane was. Wow. So sometimes, like, and when I hear people say, oh, my mom wanted me to do that, I'm like, yeah, but on the other side of the spectrum, when you get a lifestyle where people don't really, I'm not going to say they don't care, but you're not a priority, you kind of want somebody to be like, try this. Yeah. So because of that, we tried to find everything.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now, as far as the college thing, when my mama, she said, now you gonna graduate high school.
Right.
That was her thing. I mean, she wanted six of us that grew up in the house, 6 brothers and sisters. She said she wanted a diploma
from each
one of us. We owe her that. That was her thing. Yeah. So that's why I was so adamant about passing, getting through high school. Right. But college wasn't even talked about. Yeah. You know what I mean? My mom didn't go to college. You know, that wasn't a thing for my household. You know how some households you're going to go to Harvard.
Right,
you know, that just wasn't my household. So that's why they didn't really trip about the college piece. But you're going to do something.
You're going to do something.
You know, that was the thing.
So when high school was finished, did you have to have a plan?
I had to have a plan. Which I had a plan, and they were still trying to make me go with a different plan. Yeah. And I'm like, no, but I got my plan. Yeah. I need you to trust my plan. So I was like, all right, I'm going.
And see, that was the thing for me. I ain't had no plan. I was just out here, y'all. I graduated. I went to TCC for a semester.
What did you want to do?
I ain't know.
Oh.
So that was the thing. So it's almost like you can't really be too mad when they trying to guide you because you don't even see the difference. See, Patrick at least had a plan.
Yeah.
I was just kind of, you know what I'm saying? We gonna see.
Yeah.
We gonna see.
We gonna see. We gonna see. But I knew what I didn't want to do. So same thing. I did try to talk about military too. I knew I want military. So, but I still didn't know what I want to do. So, y'all, I just had odds and ends. I did the shipyard thing, stuff like that. But I ain't really know what I want to do. And then people will look now and say, oh, but this was probably their plan. Man, this was never the plan. It was never the plan.
Wow.
I did the shipyard, then I worked in I got into the fire academy. So, same thing. I took the fire test and all that, went in there, did the fire test and all that. I ain't like the EMT stuff, though. So I love the fire side, but you couldn't do one or the other. It was both.
Yeah.
So did that, then I left there, and then that's how I got to the church. Wow. Started working in the church. But at the same time, didn't have no plan of doing none of this. It was just something else, whatever was next. And then the crazy thing is, what I didn't realize, I'm going to tell y'all how crazy God worked. So when I was like 23, I end up going to Virginia Union to get my divinity degree. But I ain't had no schooling, right? So it's a master's degree. I'm saying trying to get a master's degree. I ain't had no schooling, right? But what the dean did, shout out to Dean Kenny, when I was in the fire academy goes down as coursework.
Oh, wow.
Right? So they accepted the coursework from the fire academy is how I got accepted into Virginia Union.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's like, I always tell people all the time, even when you don't really know what you're doing, like sometimes you might not know what God is doing until it might be years down the road, and then you can look back and say, you know what, he was setting this up the whole time. Because I ain't really want to be no fireman either. It was just my next step.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my next. It was like, okay, I can be a firefighter. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll try that out. That probably ain't too bad. I'll go and do that. Whole time, I ain't want to be no firefighter, and God didn't want me to be no firefighter either. Yeah. He just needed me to go through the academy.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Because he knew I was going to need that coursework to get in school. So I left the academy, started working at church. So now I had practical work.
Yeah.
So they took the practical work, however many years, I was probably like 5 years at that point. So I was getting everyday practical experience plus the coursework from fire academy. So they let me in school.
Wow. That's cool, man. Yeah.
So the whole thing is, back to the clip though, it's like I still was never a follower. I always just did whatever. It was like, okay. And I tell people all the time, I'm still this type of person. I don't got a whole lot of future plans. I can't tell you, everybody asks you, what's your 5-year plan, 10-year plan? I don't got one. When God say it's time to do this, then I do that. Firefighter came up, okay, God, I'm gonna go ahead. Like whenever I'm just ready to move when God say move.
And that's crazy because people always talk about that 5-year plan, 3-year plan, and I have been bragging on God, like, God, let me get just the title for the next 5 years. Let me just get the heading for the next 5 years. That way I can lay it all down. And it wasn't until you just said that, God was like take that off your plate. Wow. Because I have been the one that has been able to try everything. Like, I'm like, let me do this. And now I'm so very much like, God, give me a plan.
Yeah, move when he say move.
But he
move when he say move. Just move when he say move. It's that obedience. It's back to that obedience and sacrifice.
I love a little revelation for that. I told you need to be in the house. But going back to that clip, he said something so mind-blowing in that clip. He said that his currency is not money. His currency is relationship.
Yeah.
And I tell people this all the time. Like, when you are in the business of God, God gives you his most valuable asset, his people. And when you learn how to steward his people correctly, like, the money will come. And so when I saw that, I just been TMing that ever since. I was like, man, because when you work in customer service or when you work in the people business, God, like, your currency is relationships.
Absolutely. The best resource is people.
Yeah.
That's real.
Absolutely.
And that's why it tripped me out when people act like everybody's self-made.
Yeah.
No. At some point, somebody presented you with an opportunity. You had preparation, and now you're successful.
Absolutely.
And somebody helped you.
Somebody helped you along the way.
Definitely.
In some fashion or form, somebody helped you at some point in time.
Yeah.
And people be like, oh, I get it. No, God aligned somebody in your life, and somebody did something random for you. You be like, they did do that, and it catapulted you somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's why, for me, like, anytime God lays it on my heart to do something for anybody, I do it because somebody helped me.
Absolutely. Somebody helped us all.
Can I ask you a question? Are we about to be done?
What's up? What you got?
Oh, okay. So after, of course, I was watching all of that, watching all the clips, and you said something in one of the clips, and you said that it's hard for you, and sometimes you get emotional every day. And I was like, because you have the best poker face and you don't really show emotion, but you said that sometimes like you do, like when you get home. So how do you like keep it all together when you hear? Like, how do you hold it all together and not break in front of people? Like, how do you hold it?
I don't think I really. I can't say that I hold it in. I mean, I just really think it's a personality thing. It's just who I am. I don't really get super, super high. And I don't really get super, super low. But what I will say is, throughout the last few months, I will say, just emotionally, so what you're saying is, throughout the transition, I have felt every emotion.
Okay.
I felt every emotion throughout the transition. Happy, sad, excited, mad, frustrated, scared, anxious. Then I be ready. So I felt every emotion. But I just think my personality, I don't really, I'ma just get through it. So it's never that I'm trying to hold anything back. I never hold anything back. Okay. I don't. My daddy, it used to frustrate my daddy. My daddy, when I used to get in trouble back in the day, he used to get mad, whatever. And I used to just sit there like, he was like, man, you don't even care, do you? You don't even. I mean, it's like, it ain't that I don't care, but I ain't about to get all riled up with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's really just my personality. I ain't, I just don't, it's just who I am. But I don't intentionally try to hold anything back.
Wow.
I don't try to have a poker face. In fact, so like Keshia, she know when I'm irritated. She could tell when I'm irritated. She'll see it on my face, he irritated or whatever case may be. But I don't purposely try to hold anything back. But I will say, over the last few months, man, it's just, y'all, man, listen, following behind Bishop, it's a lot. It's heavy. So, I have had y'all ain't seen it, but no, I done had my moments. Yeah, definitely. But I don't intentionally hold anything back. Yeah.
I bet that's a good conversation to watch you and Bishop talk.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, y'all can see some of it maybe.
Yeah, y'all should sit down and let people just let somebody interview y'all two together and just
they did
go.
The documentary and stuff.
But I mean, just
no, you won't need everything.
Yeah. We gave y'all enough.
Right.
We gave y'all enough. Let your imagination carry you.
Take the rest.
Look, man, we hope y'all have enjoyed the season 1 recap of All BS. And listen, y'all seen how amazing conversations we had. So you want to stay tuned in, stay tapped in, stay locked in to season 2. We got some great, great guests on hand. So if you haven't already, subscribe, tell your mama, your auntie, your uncle, your kids, your cousins, everybody. Tell them about All BS. And make sure you let them know it's all Bible study. Look, I'm LJ Brown. I'm gone. See y'all soon.